Hello, my name is Hannah, and I attended Marianne Wells Yoga School in December of 2018. And I love the program so much. It helped refine how I teach not only yoga, but dance and how I deliver choreography as well to my students. So I'm very grateful to Marianne and the program. Thank you. Today we're going to do a slow, gentle flow. It's just going to be 30 minutes long. So all you'll need is a mat. You don't need any other props or anything for today. And so let's get started and go to the mat. We're gonna start in child's pose. You have a couple options. You can either bring your knees out with your feet together, or you can have your knees together with your feet together. So choosing whatever position you want with your legs, and then coming down, you can either stack your fists on top of each other, let your forehead lay on your fists, or you can let your forehead go all the way to the ground. You can straighten your arms in front of you. You can bring your arms behind your head, your hands behind your head into prayer, so it's above your low back. Or you can bring your arms down by your sides, which feels good if your knees are together and your feet are together, resting your forehead on the mat. And if child's pose is too much on your knees, and you know it is, you can lay on your back and pull your knees into your chest and let your low back fall towards the floor. So choosing your position, whatever feels right in your body, and start to close your eyes. Feel the breath coming in through your nose, down to your belly, filling up your rib cage and your chest. And then as you exhale, soften into the pose, soften the muscles on your face, soften your shoulders and the hips towards the feet. Start to let go of any tension, any unnecessary tension in the jaw, in your shoulders. And start to be really aware of lengthening your breath, pulling it in through your nose, down to the belly, and then lengthening it out, controlling the breath on the exhale, softening. A couple more breaths here. Really bringing your focus and attention into this yoga practice today. Deciding to let go of any to-do lists that you have to do later today, and know that you can get back to them after this is over, and that this time is important for you. On your next inhale, we're going to rise to tabletop position. Inhale, coming up. Look at your hands and make sure your fingers are spread really wide. Shoulders are directly over the wrist. Hips are directly on top of the knees. And feel as though you're pushing into the mat a little bit to pull your belly button into your spine and lengthen out of the top of your head away from your sacrum. Inhale here. Exhale, ground your hands and your knees, really pressing into the floor, holding yourself up. Inhale, drop the belly button down, looking towards the ceiling. Exhale, press the floor away from you to pull the belly button through, letting the top of the head drop towards the mat. Again, inhale, dropping the belly button, feeling the shoulder blades sliding down towards your hips, away from the ears. Exhale, press through the floor, let the top of the head drop, looking towards your belly button. Keep moving through this with your breath, being true to the flow of your breath. Try to lengthen your breath as much as you can. Try to really let the exhale go completely out. After your next exhale, meeting back at a neutral position. And then exhale, dropping back down to your child's pose. Softening here. Inhale, coming back to table. Exhale, going back to child's pose. So just moving through this at your own pace. Maybe you want to stay somewhere a little bit longer, We're just going to move through this a couple times. And maybe you can start to bring a little bit of freedom in your spine when you go to child's pose, when you go into table. You can start to move your spine, side bending it, arching or contracting, or you can just keep it neutral. On your next exhale, tuck your toes underneath, send your hips back towards your feet, pressing into the hands, let the knees hover off the mat. Pressing the hips up, keep the rib cage close to your thighs, and let the top of your head drop towards the mat. Pressing into the fingertips and the palm of the hand to take pressure off the wrist. The heels are dropping towards the mat, but they don't need to be there. Your legs do not have to be straight. You will still feel length in the back of those hamstrings. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears. And then drop the knees, inhale. Back to table, untuck the toes. Exhale, going back to child's pose. So again, we're going to inhale back to table. Tuck the toes underneath. Setting the hips back, hovering the knees, lifting. Rib cage close to the thighs. Exhale, drop the top of your head towards the floor. Heels are working towards the ground. Open up those sits bones. Inhale, drop the knees. So working through this flow, just a couple rounds on your own. If the breath feels confusing, I just want you to continue breathing. If you don't know where to inhale or where to exhale, it's okay. Just keep breathing, just keep moving. And if you decide to hold a position a little bit longer, just keep sending breath to the muscles in the areas where you feel the most stretch or the most contraction of your muscles. So in downward dog, I feel a lot in the backs of my legs and I'm sending breath there. In child's pose, I feel my shoulders opening. I'm sending breath to my armpits. So being aware of what each position feels like to your body. And then after, the next time you get to downward dog, coming back to table position, and we'll all meet there. And then bring whatever leg you would like forward. Let your knee be directly on top of the ankle, so make sure you check that out. Coming up, inhale, press the hips forward and have a slight arch and a slight openness of your heart to the ceiling. If you do not like your hands up because you have shoulder problems or issues, you can have them on your hips. I like to do that, and it helps me pull my spine even longer. Press through the ground with the leg in front to straighten that front leg. You might need to inch your foot out a little bit. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, folding forward just a little bit. You'll feel a lot in your hamstring. Keep sending breath to the back of this hamstring. Every time you exhale, maybe you soften forward just a hair, but really keep the spine long. Don't let your back contract forward. Keep your chest open to the front of your mat. Coming up and rebending that front leg. Opposite hand of the foot in front goes to the mat and spiral, twisting and opening your arm towards the leg that's bent. So a little spine twist here. You can drop your head wherever you want it. You can look down at your hand, you can look up at the hand up, or you can look straight ahead. Dropping the hand back to the thigh, pressing your body up, and then sending the hip forward again. Inhale, opening the chest, opening the heart to the ceiling. Pushing through the floor on that front foot to straighten the leg. Maybe you need to move the foot a little bit. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, folding forward at the hips. So even if it's just a little, you might feel it right away. I do. Inhale, really tall through the spine. Exhale, folding forward. Rebend the front leg, dropping the opposite hand to the mat. of whatever foot's in front, opening your chest towards the leg that's bent in front. And then lowering that hand back down. We're gonna move through this one more time, pressing up, and you can go at your own pace, and we'll wait at the end. We'll meet all together, pressing the hips forward in that back bend, pressing through the floor. Again, you can stay somewhere a little bit longer and just meet me when we're done. Continue to breathe. Breathing through, making your motion fluid. Let your motion and your stretch feel fluid and like it floats on your breath. And once you've come back up, switching knees, you can kind of move your knees a little bit if that kneecap feels like it just had a lot of pressure on it. And then bending the front leg, sending the hips forward, and opening up the chest, really feeling the stretch in front of that hip flexor in the back leg. Pressing through the floor, straightening the front leg, tall through the spine, and folding forward at the hips, keeping the chest really open. So this is a really intense hamstring stretch, so just be kind. Sending breath to the hamstring, warming up the body from the inside with breath. Slowly re-bending that front leg, and then whatever foot is in front, opposite hand to the mat, the inside of the leg, opening and twisting the spine. Again, you can choose where to put your head, but whatever hand's on the ground, I want you to really press into that hand and press away from the mat. So I'm not sinking into my shoulder. And then bringing that upper hand back to the thigh to press yourself back up and going into our arch again, hip flexor. Hip is pressing forward, opening the chest. Again, you can have the hands on your hips if you want. And then press through the floor with that front leg. Straightening the leg, inhale, tall. Exhale, folding at the hips. Shoulders back, wide heart. Collarbones wide. And re-bending the front leg, dropping the hand to the floor. Pressing through the ground to open up your chest towards the leg that's bent. Breathing into this twist, feeling breath go down the length of the spine, lowering the arm, and then moving through this one more time. If you forget the flow, you can just look at me, or you can just go at your own pace, or you can skip parts and then hold a part longer and meet us back after the twist. And then bringing that leg back, meeting back in table, going back up to downward dog. So sending the hips back, knees are hovering above the mat, ribs stay close to the thighs as your heels work towards the floor. And maybe there's a little more length in the back of your legs now. Maybe your heels are a little closer to the floor. Again, pull the shoulders away from your ears, let the neck feel really long. And then look towards the front of your mat and walk forward to the front of your mat. Bend your knees so much that your hands are flat on the ground, and let the top of your head hang. So maybe your knees are bent a lot, or maybe they're just a little bit bent. Shake your head no. Shake it yes. Really let the head, the weight of the head, lengthen your spine. Feeling more space in between each vertebrae every time you exhale. So inhale, feel grounded through your feet, grounded through your hands. Exhale, let yourself soften and fold more into this forward fold. Continuing that breath, the cycle of grounding, and then relaxing and softening, lengthening the spine. Maybe the hamstrings start to lengthen a little. And then rolling up through your vertebrae, one vertebrae at a time, stacking them on top of each other, letting the head be the last thing to come all the way up. And then just look straight ahead. Close your eyes for a second. Feel all 10 toes pressing into the floor, grounded. Feel the ball of the foot pressing into the ground, the outsides of the feet and the heel. Feel a slight lift in your arch, pulling up in the knees. The hips pull up in the front, belly button is pulling into the spine. Shoulders are widening, lengthening out through the top of your head. Feeling strong here, feeling grounded and rooted, as though you have roots going down into the ground and then wide out. Breathing here, feeling grounded. Exhale, feeling length through the top of your head. Opening your eyes and shifting your weight to whatever foot you want, and we'll do both legs, so it doesn't matter what foot you start on. And just testing your balance for a second on one leg, and then taking a large step back to Warrior Two. In Warrior Two, I want you to really look at this front knee and make sure that the knees are pointing directly over those toes, so my knee's not gonna fall forward and in. It's directly over the toes, my back leg is straight, pulling up in the belly button and down in your sits bones and your tailbone. Arms go out really strong and long. Look over that front hand. Feel your feet really grounded, just like we did when we were standing in mountain. They're still grounded. They're still all on the ground except for the arch lifting. From here, inhale taller through the spine. Bring that back arm to the back leg onto your thigh, and then lengthen through the side body. This is a side stretch, reverse warrior. It's not a back bend. And again, you can drop the head wherever you want. I'm always trying to explore different ways to put my head. And some things feel better than others, or they just all feel good in a different way. Pressing through that hand on my thigh to bring myself back up, and then bringing the forearm to the front leg and reaching through your side body, long through the hand all the way to that foot. Keep pulling the belly button into your spine. Don't let your low back arch. And again, playing with where that head can be. And then coming back up. Inhale tall. Exhale, just moving with one breath. Exhale, fold back to the reverse warrior. Inhale, pressing through that hand to come back up. Exhale, folding to the other side, long through your side body. And then pressing back up. Inhale, turning the toes so both toes are facing the long side of your mat. Inhale, hands to the hips, tall through the spine. Slightly bend the knees. Exhale, folding forward. So with a flat back, I'm folding forward. Inhale, I want you to roll through your spine to come back up. As you're folding forward with a flat back, start to exhale, rolling through your spine, sucking one vertebrae on top of the other until you're standing upright. Inhale, tall, folding. Exhale, rolling through, letting the head be the last thing to come up. And let this feel really fluid-like. Letting your spine really feel that curve. We don't get enough movement in our spine in our daily life. Last one, rolling up, meeting back up top, turning your front foot back to the front of your mat, turning the back toes also, so we're in this high lunge for a second. Press through the back foot to bring you back towards the front of the mat. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands to heart. Let the top of the head fold forward, going down, forward fold. Again, placing the hands on the ground flat, so you might need to bend your knees, which I do. Top of the head is hanging, and just notice if your legs feel different from each other. Doesn't have to be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe they just feel different from one another because we've done one side so far. Every exhale, let the top of your head drop even more. And then slowly rolling up through your spine, pulling your belly button into your spine, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. And then sensing the floor underneath you, maybe just feeling your mat. And then shifting your weight to the opposite foot, whatever foot you have not done yet. And then taking a long step back to your warrior two. So checking out that front knee again. So you're your teacher right now because you're just watching a video. And I want you to look to make sure that knee is directly over those toes. Back leg is straight. I'm pulling up in my belly button and down in my sacrum and my sits bones and my tailbone. Arms are long. Feeling the strength in my legs right now, the work in my front leg especially. Feel strong, but also feel like there's a sense of fluidity in your spine. It can still be long, but there's a little buoyancy there. Inhale here, exhale, back hand to that thigh, to the upper leg, and side bending towards the back leg. Still having a bend in the front leg. And again, you can decide where to put the head. Continue breathing. Every exhale, maybe you slide down a little bit further towards that back leg. Coming up, pressing through that back hand to come back up. Forearm, front forearm goes to that bent leg, and then reaching through the side body, long through the fingers all the way to the foot, pulling the belly button into the spine still. So the front leg is still working pretty hard because we are in this bent leg position still, but I want you to feel the stretch through your side body and then the work in that quad, in the leg, and keep sending breath to both body parts, the side and the leg. And then press through that arm to come back up, inhale. Exhale, folding to the back leg, reverse, pulling the belly button in, pressing through that back arm, coming back up, long spine, inhale. Exhale, folding towards the front leg, side bend, and then coming up in one piece. And then this time, I'm gonna face you, but stay where you are. You can have both legs, both feet facing the long side of the mat, and then turn your toes in, and you can choose to be up, right here. Your hands can be on your thighs. You can even bring your forearms to your thighs. My knees are pointing out, my heels are in, and my toes are out. You can stay up here, or if you have a yogi squat in your practice, you can bring it down. Insides of the arms, my triceps are connecting to the insides of my legs, bringing the palms together, pulling my spine really long, letting my hips sitting towards the floor, and then tall through the spine, opening the chest. And this is a really big hip opener. I just fell a little bit. That's okay, that happens. You can shift your weight side to side. You can put the hand on the ground, open the chest and twist. And if you're up here, you can also twist, opening the spine. Wherever you are, you're gonna feel this in your legs. Your legs are working, your hips are opening. Continue moving with breath. So we're really opening the chest, twisting the spine, opening the hips, sending lots of breath throughout our entire body. And then turning back towards the front of your mat, coming up, and then stepping back up to the front of the mat. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, folding back down to forward fold. Top of the head is down to the ground. Placing the hands on the ground, stepping back to plank. We're in high plank right now. You can choose to go on your knees. Wherever you decide to go, I want you to pull your belly button into your spine. Really widen the fingers. Feel the strength through your hands and your fingers pressing through the ground. Feel length in your spine. Top of the head is reaching away from your feet or away from your knees if your knees are down. Inhale here. Exhale, you can either lay down, or if you have chaturanga in your practice, go ahead and chaturanga, bringing the chest down first, elbows in by your sides. And then just lay your body down, reach your one leg out and back to lengthen out the hips. Reach the other leg out, back, and down to bring more length into the front of the hips. Bring your hands by your chest, and then lengthen the top of your head away from your feet. Inhale, press to the ground to bring your chest through and forward. No ears or shoulders to the ears. Press the shoulders down so your elbows might be slightly bent. Mine are. Exhale, fold forward. So again, inhale long through the top of the head. Pressing through the floor. Shoulders are wide, open heart to the front of the mat. Exhale, folding forward. Move through that a couple more times at your pace. So when you're pressing up into that arch, your collarbones are wide, your neck is long. You exhale, and remember to soften the shoulders once you're down again, pulling them out of the ears. They're already out of the ears as you're coming up. Still pulling the belly button into the spine as well. Moving through 1 or 1.5 more times, depending on where you are. After your next exhale, staying there, down to the mat. And then bringing one arm out to a T. I'm going to face this way. So one arm is going to go out to a T, out to the side, palm is down. I'm going to look and make sure my hand is in line with my shoulder. I'm going to use my opposite hand on the floor to help open up my chest. So I'm twisting my chest to the hand that is planted on the ground, helping me push up, and both of my feet are still on the ground. You will feel a stretch in front of the shoulder and in the pec of the arm that is straight right now. You can choose to bring your head off the ground, or if you want to lay the head on the floor, you can do that as well. Just feeling this nice stretch in front of the shoulder. Continue to bring breath into your body, even though we're starting to slow down. And then slowly drop your body back down to your stomach, to your chest. And then bring the opposite arm out, looking over, making sure the hand is in line with the shoulder, palm is down. And then use the opposite hand by your chest to open up your chest. Both feet are on the floor. And again, feeling length in front of the shoulder of the arm that's straight out to a T. Also feeling a stretch maybe in that pec in the front. Inhale into the shoulder. Really grounding through that hand that's helping you open your chest. Exhale. Maybe you push a little bit more into that hand. Long spine, belly button still pulling into the spine. And then exhale, slowly let yourself lower back down. And then turning onto your back. Bringing both knees into your chest. And here I just want you to do a couple circles each direction. So choose a direction and we'll switch in a second. So I'm circling my knees around, which circles my sacrum on the floor. I feel a little bit of a massage of my sacrum on the ground. And then circle the opposite way. Continue the breath even though these aren't as hard on your heart. And your blood is not pumping as hard. Still send breath into your movement. And then coming back to a neutral position, Going into happy baby, I like to grab the insides of my feet. You can choose to grab the inside or the outside. Let your elbows be on the inside of your legs. Pull your knees down towards the mat. And as you do, don't let your hips fly off the ground. You're gonna pull your low back to the ground in opposition. So I'm pulling my knees down to the ground and my low back down to the ground. Pulling my shoulders out of my ears, long neck. Feeling this stretch on the inner thighs, the hips, even the low back. This is a great low back release. Knowing that we're starting to settle down, you can close your eyes if you want. Start to turn inward. And then slowly dropping the feet down to the mat. You can straighten the legs, or you can keep them bent. Let your knees rest in on each other. You can also bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees drop out. You can choose what you want to do with your legs. Let's all bring our arms down by our sides with our palms up to the ceiling if that's okay on your shoulder. If it's not, you can go palms down. Bring in a long inhale into your belly. Filling up your rib cage and your chest. Hold your breath at the top for a second. And exhale your air all the way out, softening your body into the floor. Calm exhale. Softening your eyelids as you inhale into the belly. Soften the jaw. Filling up your belly with air all the way up. Exhale, softening the spine. Soften the hips towards the mat. Let them relax. Let the legs go wide and open up to the sides. Let your feet just roll out to the sides. Relaxing the fingers, relaxing the toes. Feeling the back of the head melting into the mat. Sending one more long breath all the way to your belly. Belly, then rib cage, chest. And then calmest exhale yet. Nice and controlled and smooth and easy. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, circling your ankles and your wrists. And then rolling to one side when you're ready. And then using your hand pressing into the floor to help push yourself up to either a seated position or a kneeling. Inhale the arms down, out and up. Exhale, pulling the hands into heart. Thank you for meeting with me, even online. And thank you for watching my video. I hope to see you guys again soon. Namaste.